to our head, and they grabbed little Elion. They snatched him from my arms. I didn't resist, but I told them, please, don't hurt the boy. Don't hurt the boy.
Flying cars? No. Cities in the sky? No. Newfound appreciation for Huey Lewis? Yes.
In '87, Huey released this. 4, their most accomplished album. I think their undisputed masterpiece is Hip to Be Square.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 events of 2000.
Will the real Slim Shady please stand up?
For this list, we'll be looking at events from each half-decade from pop culture, natural disasters, medical breakthroughs, sports, and political happenings, based on their significance at the time and their lasting impact today.
He has taken the torch and he's running with it. Major championship number 5.
This is part of a series of videos spanning the decades. Number 10, the .com bubble bursts.
What has happened in the 1990s will ultimately be challenged, and that'll make a lot of people unhappy.
The bubble that began growing in earnest in 1995 popped with a mighty bang in the year 2000.
We ended up valuing equities on the basis of eyeballs and clicks. You know, how many times people looked at a website, as if this was any use as an investment valuation metric.
The .com market reached its record high on March 10th and effectively crashed the following day, with companies' market values losing a total of $5 trillion during the next 2.5 years.
It was the deal that would create the world's largest media and online services company, called AOL Time Warner. Its value would reach nearly $350 billion by the end of 2000.
Just a month prior to the crash, the world saw AOL and Time Warner merge, with AOL shelling out $164 billion. Within a year, AOL Time Warner was labeled the worst merger in history, and by 2003, AOL was dropped from the company name.
Why did it not make sense at the time?
Yes.
Because it you can't say because it made no sense, but it basically made no sense.
Number 9, the PlayStation 2 is released.
Battle 1, fight!
Debuting at the Tokyo Game Show in 1999, the PS2 hit the ground running with DVD playability and launch titles such as Street Fighter EX3, Madden 2001, and NHL 2001.
He scores! Top shelf!
Going on to become the best-selling console in history at 150 million units sold, 3,874 titles, and over 1.5 billion games sold, Sony sold $250 million worth of product on day one.
Video game images are made up of tiny polygons. Dreamcast can draw 3 million of those polygons a second, up to 15 times more than competing systems.
Although Sega's Dreamcast hit the 6th-gen market first, its early death in 2001 saw the PS2 go unrivaled for 6 months, which, along with its $299 retail price, the same as a standard DVD player, made the PS2 a runaway hit. Number 8. The Human Genome is deciphered.
For the past 10 years, scientists all over the world have been painstakingly trying to read the tiny instructions buried inside our DNA. And now, finally, the human genome has been decoded.
Although not technically completed, the science world, as well as US President Bill Clinton and UK Prime Minister Tony Blair, announced the first working draft of the human genome in June of 2000.
But with the power of this discovery comes, of course, the responsibility to use it wisely.
By September, 25% of the finished version was deemed complete, and on November 9th, the project was explained to the public. Free of patent rights or copyright, genome information was put on the web on July 7th.
It took 2 decades to complete, required the effort of hundreds of scientists across dozens of countries, and cost over $3 billion.
The Human Genome Project first began with planning in the 80s, then got underway in the 90s, and was completed in the 2000s. In short, it was a global effort with the US, UK, France, Germany, Japan, and China taking part, and an ambitious scientific endeavor that allowed us to determine what made up human DNA and map our genes.
This is the ultimate imaginable thing that one could do scientifically, is to go and look at our own instruction book and then try to figure out what it's telling us.
Number 7. the I Love You computer worm.
For the last 36 hours, the I Love You virus has been creating havoc around the world, certainly here in North America, and already business interruption costs are estimated at more than $1 billion.
Who wouldn't want a friendly email filled with love? Apparently not the Ford Motor Company, the Pentagon, or the CIA, who each shut down their email service just to avoid one. In 2000, 45 million internet users were hit by the I Love You virus in one day.
The FBI does have some leads in the case, but is cautiously checking out reports that the I Love You author may be from the Philippines.
An email worm, the love letter also known as I Love You, was the biggest malware event of the time and spread largely through MS Outlook. Created by disgruntled programmers, the virus caused a reported $8 billion in global damages and an additional $15 billion to remove it, although it didn't actually do much. I Love You could steal passwords, but mostly it just overwrote files. Number 6, the 2000 Summer Olympics. It began with a lone horseman. From there, Olympians saw the first EPO testing and blood tests, the addition of triathlon and taekwondo. Vietnam net its first medal, Colombia earned its first gold, and the first female weightlifting competitions. The 2000 Games in Sydney, Australia also marked 100 years of female participation, commemorated by Susantika J. Singh becoming the first Sri Lankan woman to win a medal, and by Afghanistan being banned from the Games due to the Taliban's oppression of women. Of the 300 events, the US, Russia, and China led the medal count.
Can he get there? Can he get there in time? No! Schumann wins it! The Olympic title goes to the European champion, Nils Schumann of Germany, the surprise winner.
Number 5, the election of Vladimir Putin. Despite not being politically trained, lacking in personality, and not appearing in televised debates, Vladimir Putin, Russia's then PM and acting president, was elected president of Russia in 2000. Running as an independent, Putin earned 53% of the vote, while his nearest competition, Gennady Zyuganov of the Communist Party, took 29%. 33 candidates were originally nominated, with 12 registering and 11 eventually taking part. Putin's support was lowest in Chechnya, but highest in Ingushetia. Number 4, Metallica et al. V. Napster Inc.
In essence, it's about control. It's really about controlling what you own.
It was the dawn of a new millennium, a new age where free music rang forth from every dorm. And then Metallica crashed the party.
Then it's time I disappear.
When the band's I Disappear demo started getting airplay despite not being released, Metallica went looking for a leak and found a geyser.
You know what? Maybe I wouldn't have to whore myself out if you kids didn't steal my music.
Whoa.
Lars Ulrich & Co. hit Napster and named several universities accountable, with a massive lawsuit that led to a Metallica filter and ultimately the end of Napster.
Napster.
Dr. Dre, among other artists and a few record companies, filed similar suits, while Kazaa, LimeWire, and eDonkey coasted along. But the writing was on the wall for P2P as we knew it.
There's no doubt in my mind that the future of music is free. You're not going to be able to stop fans from trading music on the internet.
Number 3, the Air France Flight 4590 crash.
On World News Tonight this Tuesday, the first Concorde ever to crash just after takeoff from Paris. 113 people are killed, which included everyone on board.
While Flight 4590 was preparing for takeoff on a day in late July of the year 2000, a tire was punctured as a result of debris from a jet airliner that had taken off 5 minutes before.
Almost immediately after takeoff, one of the Concorde's 2 left engines caught fire.
When the plane ran over this tire debris, it resulted in pressure that caused the rupture of a fuel tank that soon caught fire. However, at this point, the Concorde did not have enough runway to stop safely and was forced to take off. In the air, the plane lacked the speed needed to climb, and with a melting wing, it crashed into a hotel. Pilots had hoped to land at another airport nearby, but a safe landing there, considering the circumstances, was not likely. In total, 113 people were killed in the accident, and all Concordes were grounded thereafter.
Air France and British Airways, the two airlines that fly Concorde, have to make major safety modifications.
Number 2. The Y2K Bug.
At the stroke of midnight, January 1st, 2000, elevators may stop. Heat may vanish.
The year 2000 was first identified as a problem for computers way back in 1958. To save both time and money, years were stored as only 2 digits, which was fine, so long as it was always the 1900s.
Come the year 2000, many computers will assume 00 means the year 1900. Back to the future.
Despite the issue being known, no one really cared until 1996.
I believe that Y2K may be God's instrument to shake this nation, humble this nation, awaken this nation.
By late 1999, there were fears that computers would be too confused by the year 2000 to operate, meaning banks would crash, power plants would explode, missiles would missile themselves, washing machines would dry, dryers would wash, and fridges would marry toasters. Assloads of coding later, the world survived.
Well, look at the wonders of the computer age now.
Wonders, Lisa, or blunders?
I think that was implied by what I said.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions.
First, as you know, an explosion claimed the lives of at least 4 sailors on one of our naval vessels, the USS Cole, this morning.
Hillary's fighting to make sure our children can build their futures here. She'll always put our families first.
Únete al cambio. Con tu voto, haremos historia.
Vota Alianza por el Cambio.
We have been given a great opportunity to remove a barrier that has prevented our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters from receiving equal rights under the law.
Number 1. The U.S. presidential election of 2000.
Stay with us. We're about to take you on an exciting and bumpy ride.
Although Russia, Finland, Croatia, Turkey, Venezuela, Canada, and Mexico managed to hold federal elections without a hitch in 2000, the same was not true in America.
It's not only what's your philosophy and what's your position on issues, but can you get things done?
Democratic candidate and then Vice President Al Gore narrowly defeated Republican George W. Bush by a little over 500,000 votes. But Bush had strategery on his side and won more states.
In Florida, this race between Gore and Bush, too close to call, Jeff.
Anyway, with Gore and Bush too close to call, Florida, governed by Bush's brother Jeb, became key.
The Circuit Court of the Second Judicial Circuit here in Tallahassee shall immediately begin a manual recount.
There, it took more than a month, a manual recount, and the Supreme Court to declare victory to George W. Bush by a mere 537 votes.
The first president, by the way, since 1888 to have lost the popular vote and still win the White House.
Do you agree with our list? What do you think is the most important event from 2000? For more informative top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
Even a single faulty unit could corrupt every other computer in the world.
That can't be true, honey. If it were, I'd be terrified.